So as we're modeling these n-gons and getting them either as 3 or 4-sided, the little rule of thumb that I would like to add is just to use the multi-cut tool, and if you can keep them 4-sided, keep them 4-sided. There's a lot of planar surfaces to these. A quad should do the trick. If it's something like this, worst case scenario, you have to triangulate it. It's going to be fine. In a game engine, things get triangulated anyways. Don't feel, like you're doing something wrong by triangulating things. There's going to be plenty of planar surfaces that we create that will be triangulated. I would say the best thing to do is to do it with the multi-cut tool as opposed to just selecting a face and triangulating it, because then you're telling Maya that it's okay for it to do whatever it wants to do as when it comes to these faces. When it comes to something like this and this, we can shift and right click and triangulate them, and that's the result that you're going to get in any case. So things like that, perfectly acceptable. When it comes to this transition here, I'm going to leave this for now, but ultimately I may take this point and just bring it in to here. So I'll go ahead and do that for all of those sides. For these underside transitions, this is a lot of information to really describe something that I just wanted to keep relatively flush. And we've got so if we think about it, we've got two surface directions, one going up vertically that would intersect to there. And I just didn't get my intersection depth here set as nicely as I wanted to. So, I mean, we could just triangulate these faces just to make them legit. That adds a lot of triangles into an area that we're not really going to see that much and isn't going to really have that much of an effect on the overall result. So one of the things I would do in lieu of this is rebuild these faces. Just so that these were higher up. So I'm going to move these, I'm going to scale these down so they're flat, move them up and snap so now they're nice and even. And I'm going to move this to here. And I'm holding V as I move it, just so that they're nice and flush. I take these faces and delete these as well. Take these vertices and we can delete these, collapse that, just clean up any of the Boolean extra vertices that get created. And all I'm trying to do is just straighten out, take these points, move them there. And I'm just going to modify this face and then recreate this face so that everything is nice and clean when it comes to the transition in there. Something more than likely never going to see. Use the target weld tool to bring that to there, that to there. Which just leaves us with a little bit of information down in here that we need to get straight. So it's easy enough to double click this edge loop and fill this hole, but the polygon doesn't really have a lot of resolution to it. So I can go into multi-cut. I'm going to hold shift and cut it there, cut it here to here, excuse me. to there. And we can go ahead and triangulate these faces. And we can check our results. And these, I'm going to flip some of these edges so that we get a nice looking two triangles there. Flip that as well. And you're only going to have to do this one time because we're going to duplicate this for the rest of the process. Going to do the same thing with this. G as in golf. We'll repeat that tool. Just simpler and more triangulated of a result. And I'll be posting an image of that for you to use. Because your results might not be the same as these results. You might have intersected a little bit differently at a different distance. So what I would recommend is that when you're doing the modeling on this, you really just concentrate on one of these, because we can then take this and extract and duplicate this one particular section, and then we can use the duplicate special tool to go ahead and duplicate and rotate these into place. So I'm going to continue to model on this, and then we're going to go ahead and do that. So work on just one of these. So for this bottom area, use the target weld tool. We can take these three verts and just snap them right down to there. These particular ones, we're going to use multi-cut tool. I'm going to go inside of it to the back and see what's going on in here. Booleans usually create these intermediate vertices. They're either floating vertices, something that Maya has just decided it needs to create to straighten the topology. Outside, we're going to delete those faces, and we're going to use the target weld to bring those verts together, simplify the interior there, and then use the multi-cut tool to cut right across there. We'll also justify this n-gon by triangulating it with the multi-cut tool. Do the same thing along the exterior bottom. Right here, we're going to place a point right where that would join that face on the outside on both sides, and then use the target weld tool to bring that inner vertex out to the ring, and then we'll just snap that so it's nice and straight. We can also take the top lid of the faces and delete those.